Simple, very simple. You need to launch this SQL Server Management Studio. Use the default setting and click on connect. You'll get connected. Okay, and then create the database. I just show you one more time. Click on new database. Here you specify your database name. Okay, here I just specify retail data warehouse. I'm going to create another database called retail DM data mart. Okay, and hit OK. That's all. Click the plus icon next to retail DM. It will get expanded. You can see a lot of folders. These are the default folders. You can find it as soon as you create a new database. Okay, these folders we did not create. This is by default. These folders will get created as soon as you create any new database in your SQL Server. Okay. All right. So the next step is I need to load an Excel file. Now my database is ready. Next step is I need to load the data into it. I just right click on this by selecting the database name. And then here, tasks. When you right click on it, you will find this menu. The task, in the task, you just see at the bottom, import flat file, import data. This is not a flat file. Yeah, import the data. And because we are loading the data from your Excel file, you can see a wizard, something like that, import export wizard, some window like this. Okay, you need to click on the next. Here you need to specify the data source from which file or database you want to load the data. I can see Microsoft Excel. I just select the Microsoft Excel. And then you need to specify the file name. Click on the browse. It's something like when you book a ticket in railway system, right? You need to specify your source place, right, where you want to board the train and what is your destination. Okay. So we need to tell the source area, right? So here I just select the same. XLS file. Yeah, we'll try the .xls. Okay. And I have selected the Excel file. I am going to hit the open, So now the starting point is the Excel file and then destination will tell. Okay. From this Excel file, where you want to load it, that is the one we are going to define it here. I just click on the drop down and then I just scroll down here. You can see the last one, Microsoft OLEDB provider for SQL Server. Select that one. And then you can see next to the database, retail DM. This is the database we created very recently. Okay, and if you wanted to load that Excel file data into another database, click on the drop down. You can choose whatever it is, but make sure that guys, master, model, MSDB, these are the three system, including TempDB. Master, model, MSDB, TempDB. These four databases are system database. Don't use that. It's not a good practice. The retail DM by default, that is the one got displayed here, got selected by default. You can, however, you can select whatever database, the target database, you can choose it. I'm going to select the retail DM, the default one. And here the server name is same. Okay, and it is picking up automatically. We don't have to do anything. However, you just click on the drop down and see. If you have installed more than one SQL server, then it will show the other SQL server. See, in the real world scenario, multiple SQL server software they would have installed it. Okay, in different locations they use different SQL server for the same organization. So in that case, you need to click on the drop down and select the appropriate SQL server name. In our case, we have only one SQL server is available. Fine, and then the database name also we selected it. We mentioned very clearly what is the destination. Okay, I'm going to hit the next, and I'm going to click on the preview. Yes, this is the file I want to load it. Okay, and the next I'm going to select. The next, finish. Success, success, success. And here you can see 25,004 rows got transferred. This is what the total number of records are available in our Excel file, sales underscore W04. Entire data got loaded successfully, no error. Very good. I'm going to close it. Now I go back to the database which I created, or the database where I loaded the Excel file data. And in this, I'm going to expand the tables folder. Look here, this is the file that we loaded, sales underscore W04, right? Just select the table, right click on it, select top 1000 rows. That's all, guys. To view the data which we loaded here, select that table name or the file name, the table name. Okay, table name is nothing but your file. Whatever the file that you loaded, it will be considered as a table only, like a Power BI desktop. You can see a lengthy query got generated automatically. Just beneath that query, you can see the results, the query result. It got executed automatically. And then if you scroll towards the right side, you can see all the columns and all the data. You can find it here. So this is what my SQL query. Did I write any query? Nothing. That is the beauty of SSMS tool. It is developer friendly. You don't have to write query for everything. Okay, certain queries can generate it automatically using this one. Supposing you don't want specific columns, you can remove it. For example, here I just go here. I don't need the order period, the shipping cost. I just simply delete it. But while deleting it, you need to be cautious. Okay, the comma should be there before that. Okay, and then I don't have to select everything again. And just above this, you will find execute here. Okay. Here you can find the execute button here. You need to click on the execute button so that the query will get. See, initially we did not click on execute. All we did was we selected the table name, we right clicked on it. And then here we just clicked on select top 1000 rows. Okay, the query got generated on the right side. This is your SQL query window. And then the results you can see at the bottom. And importantly, this one, if you see at this right bottom, yeah, we can see 1000 rows, but actually we don't have 1000 rows here. More than that, right? So 25,000 rows or so. But yeah, sorry, it shows only 1000 rows. That is because when we selected it, right clicked on select top 1000 rows. Okay. Actually, we have 25,000 and odd rows are there, right? So what we can do is, if you want to see all the record, you can remove this top 1000. And then what you do is you just put star here. Star means select all the records. Click on execute. Mm, sorry. Okay, here select row ID. That is enough. Okay. All the columns. You don't have to use star also. Click on it. Yeah, you don't have to use star also. But in Oracle, you can use select star. Even in Oracle, you just either you can use select star from table name. In that case, you don't have to specify all the column names. I just show you at the bottom. Okay. Select star from plain English like language. We are going to use it. That is what your SQL query. SQL query also very easy to learn. I just copy and paste it here. We need to tell from which table you want to select and view the data. Okay. This is your database name. This is the owner name. For this table, the is the owner. Okay, I just select this query and I'm going to look here. Select star works even in SQL Server. Since we have mentioned here all the columns, no, hence star is not required. Okay, you can just select it this one and then hit the execute. You can see all the records, and at the bottom, right side bottom, you can see 25,000 rows got selected. So what we did so far, we wanted to load an Excel file data into SQL Server. For that, I just created a new database. I named the database as Retail DM. And then once the database got created, I selected the database on the left side, right click on the database and name, and then the tasks menu. Okay. When you keep the cursor on the task menu, another menu will get opened and you need to click on import data. So the import export wizard got opened. That is where I mentioned the source and destination. What is my source? Excel file is my source. Destination is my retail DM database in SQL Server. That's all. The data got loaded. Once the data get loaded, even if you see the status as success, still we need to go and check in the SQL Server. For that, I expanded the retail DM folder, and then I expanded the tables folder. I was able to see the sales underscore W0. If you want to rename the table, right click on it, select that, right click on it, and then here I just want to remove the dollar. I just press enter. Now it got renamed. It's that much simple. Renaming the table is also very simple because of the SSMS tool. Got it? Yes. So you can select this specific column. You can select this specific column, or you can specify, you can type select star from, this one. Your database name, and then the owner name is DBO. Okay, database one. DBO stands for database owner, and followed by the sales. So we need to tell explicit something like that. This table belongs to which database, and who is the owner for this table? DBO. This table is owned by whom? Database owner, the author, which is nothing but I am the owner of this table. I created this table. Hence, it is available in the DBO. Okay, now the question is, we need to use the Power BI desktop to connect to this database and pull the data from this table. How do I do that? I just click on the connect and then database engine. Here the SQL server name is there, isn't it? I just select it and copy this one, because in Power BI desktop also I need to tell the source and destination. I'm going to hit the get data button and I'm going to select the SQL server. Here I'm going to paste it, the server name. And then next one is the database name. It is not mandatory, but still it is the best practice if you specify the database name. Okay. Retail DM. That is the database name. Look here, I'm talking about this one, retail DM. Okay, that's it. And import. So, just beneath that, you can see data connectivity mode, import direct query mode. Do you remember when I loaded the CSV file Excel file, we did not see this option. Simply, we have selected the Excel file from my Windows system folder or the CSV file. And then when I hit the OK button, it got loaded. When it comes to database, it is asking the server name, database name. Though it's an optional, I mentioned it explicitly that database name. And then here's something on data connectivity mode, import query mode, direct query mode. The default one is import, and I'm going to hit OK. See, when it comes to SQL Server or certain databases, the data connectivity mode will get displayed. Now it got connected to the retail DM database. In that database, we have only one table is available. I click on the checkbox next to the sales W04. On the right side, we can see the data. Okay, this data is available in this table sales W04. This table is available under retail data mart database. Okay, I'm going to hit the load button. Apply changes. Yes, sales W04 data got loaded. I'm going to click on the table view and select this one. This is my database. Okay. And then if you go to the model view, see week 0 for sales, foreign sales, and sales W0. Three tables got included in with this outlook. Okay, it looks like a table, isn't it? I'm switching to report. Okay, we are done. So now you learn how to load an Excel file into SQL Server. Once you load the Excel file data into SQL Server, right, it got converted as a table. From that table, we have extracted the data and loaded into my Power BI desktop using import mode. Next one is, again, I'm going to connect to the SQL Server. Going to paste the same SQL Server name. The database name was retail DM. This time I'm going to select the direct query option. I'll tell you what is direct query, okay? And then I'm going to hit OK. Let's see what happens. Same thing, I'm going to select the sales W04. I'm going to hit load it. Go, okay, good. Can you see on the right side, sales W04 tool? This is what my recently loaded data from a SQL Server into Power BI Desktop using direct query mode. Now to view the data, I'm going to hit the table view button and I'm going to select this one, but it is not displaying the data here. When you use the import mode, the data is something like it got downloaded from your SQL Server into Power BI Desktop. There is a duplicate here. You have sales W04 data is available in your SQL Server. The same is available in your Power BI Desktop also locally. But when I tried the direct query mode, the table structure got loaded, the data was not loaded. Why to have the redundant data? Already I have the sales W04 data is in SQL Server. Why do I need to download it again or load it into Power BI Desktop again? Let the data be there wherever it is. Okay, whenever I need it, I go and access it. That's all. Okay, whenever on a need basis, I go and hit that SQL Server table called sales W04. Once my need is over, that's all. Okay, if the data volume are too huge, for example, you have 1 petabytes volume, or take for example, even 100,000 records. If you have to copy it to your Power BI desktop, it will take a longer time. Copy is nothing but importing the data locally here. See, in the real world, guys, see, for the demo purpose, I have shown you both the SQL Server and Power BI installed in my laptop. But in the real world system, SQL Server will be there in another system, or it will be available in your cloud. In cloud also, we can install the SQL Server, Azure SQL Server. Azure is Microsoft Cloud name. So in their cloud, we have option to install the SQL Server there itself. Let's say the tables are available under the SQL Server, Azure SQL Server database. How do I access the cloud data using my Power BI desktop, which is there in my local laptop? Okay, you just think the database is not available in my laptop; it is available in cloud. Now what happened? I just used the direct query mode. It just loaded the table name only, the structure of the table. Okay, table name, and then if you expand this, you can see all the columns belong to this table got loaded here. Only this is called a structure or skeleton. Only the skeleton got loaded, but the data was not loaded. Why the data, did not? So whenever there is a need, I'll go and fetch it from my SQL Server. So what do you mean by that? I just go to the report mode, and here I just rename with some meaningful name so that this is my data mart, retail data mart table, right? Or this SQL Server sales DB. So this table came from where? SQL Server. See, the previous one also, the sales DB04, we came from SQL Server, but the copy of your SQL Server table is literally available in local laptop, in your local server. Whereas in the case of SQL Server, it is not available locally. So then how do I create reports? For example, I just click on the table visual. The moment when I clicked on the table visual, it got dropped on my left side, the report canvas, in the report canvas. And if I, expand this icon, sales SQL Server sales W04, shows all the columns. I just drag and drop the category column. And then I just drop the quantity and other thing, okay? How many units we sold, how much profit we got, how much sales we made. Just drag and drop it. So you might be asking this question. The data for this table, SQL Server sales W04, was not loaded locally. How come it is, giving me the data here? What happens is behind the scene, Power BI generate a SQL query. That SQL query will be sent to the SQL Server. It is something like Power BI asked SQL Server, hey, my user wants these 3 columns or 4 columns: category, quantity, profit, and sales. You send me those columns data back to my report. That's all, guys. Okay. And this data came from where? Directly from my SQL Server. The data, were not loaded locally here. That is what you need to understand. To verify that, I'm going to click on modeling repair, not the modeling, view repair, to verify whether this data came from SQL Server or locally. Okay, I select the view ribbon. View ribbon, you will find some performance analyzer. Click on the performance analysis and start recording it. And again, refresh visuals, more than one time. You just give it. That's all. And if I go somewhere here, the table, when I expand it here, and then another table, you can see the direct query option here. Direct query option is there. So with that, okay, one second, copy query. Mhm. Okay, this is not required. One second. Copy query. When I click on the copy query here, and then I go to my SQL server, somewhere, some notepad also I can put it. I just paste it. Look here, this is the query got generated by Power BI desktop, direct query. All I need to do is just import the data in direct query. And in the report page, when I go and drag and drop the columns that belong to the SQL Server database table, it generates the query something like that. This query is the one sent to your SQL Server, and then this query get executed there. And then the output of the data will be sent back to your visual in your Power BI desktop. So this is what is happening here. Okay, I just write it here. So with this performance analyzer option, we will be able to copy the query, and then we posted that query in a laptop, sorry, in a notepad or in my somewhere. Okay. So what is happening here is, yes, this is what is happening. This is my SQL server. So in this SQL server, the sales W04 table was there. Okay, 1 second. Okay, this is what my SQL server database. In that we have the sales underscore W04 table was available, isn't it? Okay. So the next step is 1 second here. I shouldn't have used that. Okay. Then the SQL server has something called sales underscore W04 table was available. And then what I do here is I have my Power BI desktop. The Power BI desktop, when I use a direct query mode option to connect to SQL server, the data will not get loaded my Power BI desktop. Instead, only the metadata gets loaded. What do you mean by metadata? It's nothing but your table structure, the table name, and the columns. What are the columns? Right, that is the one is happening. That is the one gets loaded here. The data, will not get loaded. So what happened now? The yeah, the Power BI desktop. It will, in the case of direct query mode, it will generate a SQL query. Okay, it will generate a SQL query. Okay, how does this generate a SQL query? See, it send a query to your SQL server. Simply, okay. Select category and quantity and profit, sales, from the table name was sales underscore W04. But here what happens is it does the sum on the quality, okay, by default, okay. The default aggregation was sum for all the numerical column. My Power BI desktop, when you use direct query mode, so it is doing something like that. It generates the SQL query. Smartly, it will generate the SQL query group by category. So smartly generate the SQL query. And this is the query will be sent to your SQL server by your Power BI desktop. And the output of the query will be sent back. See, this query will get executed in SQL server. The output of this query will be, only the output of the query will be sent back to your Power BI desktop. See, in this case, Power BI is pretty smart. It simply orders the SQL server, hey, I need so-and-so tables data or so-and-so columns data from so-and-so table. You execute this query and give me the output. Okay. So the advantage here is that a sales W04 table, let's assume that it contains 100 million records in it. To load the data into your Power BI desktop, this 100 million data, it takes a lot of time. Rather, smartly what Power BI does, let the data be there wherever it is. I'm going to query the data. I'm going to send the query. You need to execute the query and then execute query's output. You need to push it here. So this is called query folding. Query folding. So this is query folding is possible only in your direct query mode because your Power BI desktop is available on laptop, SQL server is available, another server or another laptop. You just think that way, okay? Or in cloud. So in that case, for example, if that sales W04 table was available in your Azure cloud, and this table contains, let's assume that 100 million records. If you load the data from your cloud to your local laptop, it takes longer time. Another simple example is, guys, we all using YouTube. YouTube videos, we go and watch it. Let's say you want to watch your favorite movie. Let's say for Pushpa 2 movie, you want to watch it. So you go to the YouTube, let's say Pushpa 2 movie is available. Let's assume that, okay? You just click on that video to watch that movie. So actually, to download that movie, it requires, let's assume, the 3 GB storage space. But whenever we want to watch any movie or TV serial in YouTube, do you think that entire file get downloaded first and then only we are able to watch it? No. That is the streaming data. YouTube, what happens, as soon as it reads the data from the video frames, it simply displays that content. Okay. So we don't have to download the entire movie's video. That's a time-taking process. Instead, just click on the movie. It'll pull the video frames from your video files, and then you can watch the video in a pretty fast manner, right? What if the entire movie gets downloaded with the 5 GB or 6 GB? It requires a lot of storage space, and then loading the data, everything will take some time. But here, with the query folding, so this is where the direct query mode comes in picture. Direct query mode, simply generate the query from Power BI desktop, and then that query will be sent to your SQL server. Is it clear or not? So you learned about how to load the SQL Server table using import mode, that's the default mode, into your Power BI desktop. And also you learned how to load the data from your SQL Server and database into your Power BI desktop using the direct query mode. When I use the direct query mode, displays no record, but on the right side here, when I select the table, yeah, only the structure got loaded here. Only the structure got table name, column names. The data were not loaded here. So what happened? Whatever the columns that are required from this table, it's just simply dragged and dropped it here. It did the magic. It generated the query behind the scene. In the query sent to the SQL server. Yeah, I need the query to be executed. The output of the query send me back to my visual. That is what has happened. So this table contains direct query mode, right? You pull the data using direct query mode. Power BI, Power BI. Sorry, Power BI. Send an SQL query. Send an SQL query to SQL server. Okay, the SQL query gets executed on the SQL server. The output of the query will be sent back to your Power BI. This is very, very important. The interview will ask you what is directed mode, how it works. Power BI sent an SQL query to SQL server. The SQL server, the SQL query gets executed. Oh, sorry, the SQL query. See, Power BI send an SQL query to your SQL server. That query will get executed on your SQL server. Only the output of that query will be sent back to your Power BI. Hence, it is pretty faster. But compared to import mode, the direct query mode takes time. But if you don't have direct query mode, what will happen? You are left with loading the entire data from your SQL server, no matter how much volume of the data you have in each table. If the volume of data is less, it is fine. If it is too huge, what you do? That's where the direct query mode comes into picture. It is pretty faster compared to loading the entire data locally. But if you ask me this question, comparing to import and direct query mode, which one is faster? Obviously, import mode will be faster. Again, on a case-to-case basis, we need to decide. If the interviewer asks this question, you can ask them a question. So the import or direct query mode, which one is faster? We cannot tell upfront. It depends on the tables. Or you can tell proactively, the volume of the table size is less. I will be using the import mode. The volume of data are very huge. Then I'll be using the direct query mode. It's as simple as it. Because in the direct query mode, unlike your import, it will not load the data into your local desktop. Instead, to generate the query, that query will be sent to your SQL server. The query get executed in your SQL server. Only the output of that query will be sent back to the Power BI desktop visuals also. This is also called as query folding. Okay, you understood? I'm going to clear this. Coding is going. Yes.